you've seen multiple generations of lawyers. You've spoken to, I'm guessing, probably hundreds or thousands of lawyers at this point or law students. And I wonder what you think AI might expose about the profession, either in a good way or a bad way.
You have to give me more help here. What are we talking about? Expose in the profession.
Yeah, is there anything when it comes to like you one thing you mentioned was like the billable hour. It's kind of exposed there might be a weakness when it comes to the strength of the billable hour because it's that thing has prevailed for decades at this point, and the AI is probably going to expose that. It's going to force these big law firms into a different model, right? So I wonder if there's anything else when it comes to lawyers in general, whether it's their ability to write. I mean, is there anything that you've seen, any sort of trends or common ribbons that you think that AI is either maybe it's replacing or maybe things that it's showing that lawyers as a profession have a weakness where and it could be another thing to think about too is when you're talking about money coming in from outside the legal space in places like Utah and Arizona where these alternative business models. So I just wonder if there's anything like that where AI may have exposed.
Well, I mean, I think that we could talk about the billable hour forever. I think the billable hour sucks. So if you're using the word expose in a way that maybe is giving me a little bit of a curveball, but I would say in terms of what we've already talked about, the human interaction that we as lawyers have to have with our clients is not getting replaced. So the people that are skilled at that, I think, gain in this system, right? And like you've heard, I'm sure you've heard because I have partners down the hall. They're all the resume snobs. I went to St. John's, which I affectionately refer to as the Harvard or Queens. Um, and so all the people down the hall, they have all these fancy resumes, and I can only talk to some people, and they'll tell me, oh, we write well and we can research better and our brains are bigger. And I don't give a fuck about any of that. Because like at the end of the day, that isn't gonna win you a case, right? And I don't even really think clients give a shit about that. It's lawyers who suck, who basically accomplish nothing in their careers. They're the ones telling you where they went to school and how they were on law review and all the bullshit that doesn't really fucking matter. And so I went to St. John's and I run a law firm of people that would literally take my resume and throw it in the trash. Okay. So like it's like that's just the way it works. I think AI will even that out. In other words, like when you say I've got 5 Stanford graduates down the hall and they can research, the like circles around you and write these briefs. Well, what happens when Chat GPT 11 can write a better brief than all 6 of them in 5 minutes? Right? Like so, like that's the future we're headed to.
I think that you just answered that perfectly. I think that's a great example of what I'm talking about. Is there's certain things, and part of the reason why I want to ask that question is because there's certain things that are going to get replaced that people right now just are not seeing. They think that they are going to be better because they're a human, but you may be an excellent writer right now, but whenever ChatGPT 8, like you said, comes out, it is going to be able to write better than any human lawyer ever in existence. It's going to be able to do that at some point. It's not there yet. I will say that, but it's a better writer than many attorneys at this point. But I think that you answered that perfectly. I think that that's a great answer as to something that people
But
need
you know
to
what I
keep
worry
knowing.
about though? So like I don't know if you would subscribe to this, but I am not the best writer around here. They all tell me I can't write, and all I'm allowed to do is edit. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But it is the process of writing, right? Like I don't know if you remember back in law school, outlines. Somebody stole my outline my second year at law school because I had like good grades or whatever. And all my study buddies were like, "Oh man, this is terrible. They stole your outline. They're gonna get." I'm like, it's the process of making the outline that was the benefit. It's not the output. It's like it's creating it. And so here's my worry, right? When we get to that point in the future where Chat GPT or whatever AI engine, Gemini or who knows, can do what we just talked about. What's going to get lost is the process that led to creating that brief. Because you can write the best brief in the world, and then who knows, maybe some AI judicial tool will review it in our hypothetical future. But when you go to argue that, I think something can get lost if you are not part of the person or part of the team that created the output, and the output can just be created for you. And now you're the advocate and you have to get up there. And so now, I guess in this world, we say, okay, chat, give me my outline for this, talk. if you're not thinking about it iteratively and going through the process of writing the brief and editing it and reading the cases and getting to the point where now you're comfortable with what the argument should be and you've written it, I think that it's going to take some effort from the advocates of the future to get to the same spot that you naturally must get to now in order to write that brief, if that makes sense.